Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. My name is OJ, and today we're going to break down what happened at UFC Seattle. I'm going to give my reaction to every fight on the card, starting from the early prelims, ending with the main event. I'm not going to waste any more time. Let's jump right into the video. Starting off with the early prelim Modestas Bukauskas versus Rafael Sequeira. Once again, Rafael Sequeira folded at the first sign of adversity and just stood there like a punching bag until the referee stopped the fight. Now, this time he went past the 3 minute mark of a round, but again, how is Rafael Sequeira even signed to the UFC? This guy is genuinely awful at fighting, and his record is padded up by beating schmucks like me off the street. As for Modestas Bukauskas, I think he's a lot better than I give him credit for. He lost to Khalil Roundtree, which at the time I only thought tomato cans lost to Roundtree, but since that loss, he's really bounced back, and I believe he's on a 4 fight win streak. Good for Bukauskas, even though I did not rate his opponent all, because it's clear that Modestas Bukauskas should be getting a ranked opponent sometime in the future. Moving on to Nurzoltan Ruziboyev versus Eric Mekonico. Ruziboyev, from start to finish, dominated Mekonico until the second round, when he dropped him like 3 times in a row, and Keith Peterson decided to step in. Kind of surprised to see that Ruziboyev left the fight past the first round, but he did put away Mekonico right as the second round began, so I'm not going to complain too much. As for Eric McConico, I don't know what the fuck he's doing in the UFC. The dude has no business being in the UFC whatsoever. Like, I'm pretty sure I could do better against Ruzi Boyev than what McConico just showed us. He literally could not do anything, which is why I was shocked to see Ruzi Boyev hang past the second round for that fight. But good for Ruzi Boyev because it's clear that you need some form of skill and talent in order to beat this guy. And honestly, I wish he moved back up to middleweight because I think Ruzi Boyev can become a legitimate threat at the middleweight division given the right matchups. I don't want to spend too much time on this fight, so we're going to move up the card. Austin Vanderford versus Nikolai Veretnikov. Paige Van Zandt's cuck boyfriend Austin Vanderford gets the job done against Nikola Veretnikov. Now, I didn't make a prediction for this fight because one, I didn't really know who either of these guys were, and two, this fight was added onto the Seattle card at like few days' notice at best. Overall, what I thought about the fight, Vanderford was able to exploit Veretnikov's weakness in the grappling department and just ragdolled him from start to finish. The fight ended in a hilarious way because right after the ref stepped in, Veretnikov pushed Vanderford at the back, which was really funny because Veretnikov showed more effort to fight Vanderford after the ref stepped in and not during the fight when Veretnikov is legally allowed to hurt Vanderford. As for Veretnikov, please cut him from the sport because not only does he show zero effort to getting back up when his opponents take him down, he's just a sore loser and a dog shit fighter. Really hard to believe that this guy was signed into UFC, but here he is still on the roster in the year of 2025. Either way, solid performance from Vanderford and not much else to say about this fight. Moving up the card, Ricky Simone versus Javid Basharat. Ricky Simone puts out Basharat cold in the first round with a left hook into a devastating right hand. I broke this fight down to a T because in my prediction video, I said that Javid Bashra can't do shit against anyone who can actually pressure forward on the feet. We've seen Javid Bashra fight complete scrubs where he just leg kicks them to a decision. And the only time he hasn't fought a scrub was when he fought Ayman Zahabi, who I'm going to be completely honest, is mid. But still, there were concerns seeing that Ricky Simone was coming off a consecutive loss streak, but fortunately for Ricky Simone, he was able to save his career with a brutal knockout win over Javid Basharat. Sucks for Basharat fans, but I'm happy to see that Ricky Simone gets to keep his job in the UFC because he's still good. He just had to face very tough competition. Either way, Ricky Simone gets the job done. We move up the card to Mansour Abdul Malik versus Nick Klein. I'm gonna give Abdul Malik more credit for knocking out Nick Klein than I originally would have given him. Towards the end of the first round, Klein rocked Abdul Malik with a crazy spinning back fist, and it looked like Abdul Malik was about to get finished because he probably did not see that spinning back fist coming. But Abdul Malik was able to survive and regain composure. And once he regained composure, he brutalized Nick Klein in the second round. Is Nick Klein this world beater? Not really. If anything, I'd say he's kind of soy because even though Klein was clearly winning the first round, he looked like a complete, like, fucking soy boy out there. I thought Klein could have got finished at any point of the fight. But the fact that Abdul Malik was able to battle through adversity was somewhat impressive. He does need time to develop before we chuck him at like dangerous fighters in the middleweight division. But Abdul Malik is vicious, talented, and gritty. So I want to see how much he can develop as a prospect moving forward. Up the card, we have Malik Wazal Costa versus Andre Philly. Costa chokes out Philly in the first round with one of the slowest guillotine attempts I have ever seen. Like, I picked Costa to win this fight, but even I was disappointed as to how it turned out. Not much really happened throughout the majority of the first round. Both guys were trading kicks back and forth before Andre Fili decided to shoot a retard takedown near the end of the first with his head outside for Costa to just wrap around for a free gilly. Like, Costa didn't even need a trap Philly in full guard. He just slowly readjusted his posture in order to create an angle for a guillotine. And Philly didn't even scramble to the opposite side. He didn't even bother the tripod. Philly just sat in half guard, doing jack shit, thinking he secured the round with that takedown. It is a pretty impressive win for Costa. However, because Philly has had decent success outside of the featherweight rankings, I think this puts Costa against an opponent who just fell out of the rankings or someone who's just outside. But either way, it's a good win for Malik Costa. We're gonna move on to Ipo Aslan versus Ion Kutalaba. The future light heavyweight GOAT Ion Kutalaba is back. He submitted Ivo Aslan in the first round with an arm triangle, and he looked great leading up to the submission win. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I was nervous for Kutalaba because even though I picked him to win in my prediction video, there was part of me that was thinking if Kutalaba stays on the feet any longer, he will get knocked out the fuck out. But this time, Kutalaba evolved into a mythical fighter. And by that I mean he used his brain for once. Immediately as the bell rang, Kutalaba is shooting takedowns against Ibo Aslan. And even when Aslan could get back up to his feet, Kutalaba made sure to stand his base and throw whenever Aslan would try to walk Kutalaba down instead of trying to play this fucking bullshit outside foot battle or as Kutalaba would do, just leave his chin open, swinging meaty hooks. Kutalaba eventually found the takedown, and once he got it, he proceeded to ragdoll Aslan, flattening him out into mount before securing a tight ass arm triangle. Sucks to be a Turkish MMA fan, however, because other than Ibo Aslan, there's literally no one else in the UFC. But great to see that Ion Kutalaba came out on top and gave us one of the most hilarious post fight interviews where the guy's just glazing himself and his grappling. Great job from Ion Kutalaba. We move up the card to Alonzo Manyfield versus Julius Walker. I don't know how to feel about this fight. Like, on the one hand, this fight was fun because these guys were trying to decapitate each other for the entire fight. But on the other hand, both of these guys are fucking dog shit. Like, how is Alonzo Manyfield ranked at light heavyweight? I'm sorry. Like, I know light heavyweights are trash, but Alonzo Manyfield, other than swinging meaty hooks, does not do anything. This fight was like watching a UFC 5 heavyweight bout where you and your friends are just learning how to move the controls. In the first round, Julius Walker had Manyfield rocked badly, and rather than following up against the fence, Julius Walker, for some reason, is fighting for double underhooks, trying to win the clinch battle. Like, bro, pick your shots on the feet, you fucking retard. You have Manyfield rocked. I don't understand why some MMA fighters do this where they have their opponents on skates, but then proceed to clinch up against the fence rather than trying to knock their opponents out. There were a few moments where I thought Walker could have taken Manyfield down, but Manyfield did a good job fighting for head position throughout the vast majority of times they were clinching up against the fence. as well as standing his ground and swinging devastating shots. Like, these guys have zero IQ when it comes to mixed martial arts, and it shows in the way both of these guys fight. But again, this fight was kind of fun to watch. Two cavemen just swinging meaty hooks in order to knock their opponents out. We're gonna move on because I'm really excited to break down this next fight. Jan Silva versus Melsik Bagdasaryan. Holy shit, Jan Silva is him. MMA TikTok is gonna have a field day making edits for Jan Silva because this guy is pound for pound one of the best clip farmers I have ever witnessed, and I fucking love it. The fight starts and both guys are trading shots, but you can see on Silva's face that he was just playing around with Bagdasaryan. Normally, I would say that's fucking stupid because Bagdasaryan is dangerous, but Jean Silva all of a sudden drops Melsik with a left hook and a right hand down the pipe. It looked like Jean Silva was like, "All right, it's time to stop playing," and hit him with a two-piece special. I don't think Melsik even knew what the fuck was going on because he looked lost after he got dropped by Silva, as Silva is pointing at Melsik while looking at the ref to stop the fight. And when Silva realized the ref wasn't going to stop the fight, he immediately pounced on Melsik and beat the fuck out of him harder. This guy is the real deal. He is living proof that autism is a great base for mixed martial arts. He called out Bryce Mitchell in his post fight speech, a great call out from John Silva. That is probably who the UFC are going to give John Silva for his next fight, and I cannot wait to see that happen. Up the card, we have Rob Font versus Yun Matsumoto. Font wins this fight via split decision. Now, I was right about Font winning, and my reasonings for Font winning were almost perfect. But even then, Matsumoto actually impressed me. Matsumoto did a very good job of answering Font's jab with combinations of his own. He occasionally got Font a few times with head kicks and uppercuts, and the calf kick was money throughout the majority of the fight. He also implemented takedowns against Rob Font, which you should do. But I didn't see any control on Matsumoto's side, which is what made the difference because Font was easily able to get back up every time he was taken down by Matsumoto. Matsumoto looked way better than when he fought Brad Katona, but in the end, Rob Font found a way to grind out a split decision victory, sticking to the jab, and eventually timing this front elbow that cut Matsumoto badly. I'm pissed that Alonzo Menifield versus Julius Walker was given fight of the night instead of Font versus Matsumoto because this fight was 5 times better than Menifield versus Walker. But regardless, congratulations to Rob Font. He is fraud checking all of these young whippersnappers at the age of 38, which is very impressive to see. Moving on to the co-main event, Anthony Hernandez versus Brendan Allen. I thought I was some kind of slick genius thinking Brendan Allen was going to win. What I didn't account for was the fact that Brendan Allen has the IQ of an amoeba. Why is this retard jumping guillotines after rocking Hernandez on the feet? Why is this retard jumping for back after head kicking Hernandez? I don't know, but it felt like that one scene from Spider-Man No Way Home, when the voice inside Oswald's head is trying to get Oswald to wear the Green Goblin mask. But instead, for Brendan Allen, the voice inside his head is telling him to attempt some of the dumbest submission attempts possible every 30 seconds. Allen is clearly winning on the feet, piecing up Hernandez, and then all of a sudden, his ADHD kicks in, like, whoop, gotta attempt the dumbest submission possible. Like, in short, Brendan Allen is retarded, smooth brained, moronic, 60 IQ, could be serving in the front lines of military service. He's that level of fucking dumb. But as for Anthony Hernandez, he looked pretty good. There were some things that impressed me. He has very good chain wrestling, and I would go as far to say he has the best chain wrestling in the middleweight division. Like, I know Hamza Chimaev is here, but I think just by the sheer volume of takedowns Hernandez can attempt is what separates him from Hamza Chimaev, at least in terms of pure wrestling ability. But at the same time, I do think there are weaknesses in Hernandez's game that are able to be exposed by the top five. If Hernandez is left on the feet, he's very open defensively. Sure, he kind of just bum rushes in, giving his opponent zero time to react. That is mainly against guys who are scared of the takedown threat. I can see guys like Chimaev and Dricus Duplessis neutralizing the takedown threats and possibly chinning Hernandez when Hernandez comes in with like the Marab style blitz. Also, he is very open to leg kicks. Brendan Allen had a lot of success chewing up Hernandez's legs and occasionally landed a really nice head kick following up the leg kicks. But still, a great win for Hernandez. Sounds like I'm coping with the fact that Hernandez won, but I'm not. I'm coping with the fact that Brendan Allen is a fucking retard. Moving on to the main event, Song Yadong versus Henry Cejudo. Now, I have a lot to say about Henry Cejudo, but I will get to him after I congratulate Song Yadong for effectively retiring Henry Cejudo. Before the fight ended in an eye poke, he looked good in there. Song's kicks were on point. He chewed up Cejudo's left leg. And he was finding his boxing combinations as the fight progressed. The one thing I will say is that he over respected Henry Cejudo's wrestling to a fault because he didn't really let his hands go until the end of the third round. Now, as for Henry Cejudo, I'm not going to completely trash him. He looked very quick and he had a lot of success in his boxing against Song Yadong. I did not see that coming whatsoever. Cejudo had a lot of success finding his jab, and his left hand down the pipe every time he switched to southpaw was money. And he was working the body of Song Yadong in the early rounds. With that being said, fuck Henry Cejudo. Did Song Yadong pull out the John Jones special by gouging Cejudo's eyes out? Yes, but Cejudo was trying to game the system by claiming he could fight, but right after complaining to the ref about his left eye. I don't mind that Cejudo took all 5 minutes of that time out for that eye poke. My problem is that he was trying to win off a technical decision because in his mind, he thought he won all 3 rounds. If Cejudo, towards the end of the 5 minutes, clearly stated that he could not continue the fight because of eye poke, then I would not have any problem with the fight being called off whatsoever. The only reason Cejudo fought onward was because he thought he was up on the scorecards. I'm gonna be completely honest. At best, it was 2-1 for Song Yadong. I had Sung winning rounds 1 and 3, but even if he didn't, I don't understand why Cejudo thought he was clearly winning, as if Cejudo didn't tag him with heavy shots at the time throughout the fight. As for the rematch, I don't give a shit as to whether it happens or not. I doubt the UFC will oblige considering Dana White's annoyance with Cejudo's antics. But yeah, fuck Henry Cejudo. Whether he retires or stays in the UFC and the UFC feeds him to the next upcoming prospect, I don't give a shit anymore because Cejudo is very annoying. Hopefully, he clears something up in his next episode of the Pound for Pound podcast, and I'll make my final judgments there. Until then, I'll clearly say that Song Yadong won this fight. But yeah, that's gonna be it for today's video. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys thought about UFC Seattle. Otherwise, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.